if the value system has been ingrained completely, then there are two brands of television, right? One says, okay, to the distributor by 31st March, pick up, ask every leader to cut 10% of their workforce.
बट उसके पीछे लॉजिक क्या था? मतलब बस सीधे 10% लोगों को निकाल दो। सर आजकल लॉयल्टी फॉर एम्प्लॉय तो खत्म हो गई है। लाखों लोगों को ले ऑफ किया जा रहा है। एक रात को नोटिस आता है, सीईओ मैसेज भेजता है जूम पर, 200 लोगों को फायर कर देते हैं। यू सेइंग यस देयर इज एम्प्लॉय लॉयल्टी।
I don't believe that.
Before we begin today's conversation, I think it's only fair that we introduce the real reason loyalty still exists in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our first guest, the one who never misses a greeting, never breaks trust, and somehow manages to turn stressful days into peaceful evenings. His name is Eden Singh. You know, they say dogs don't speak human language. I think that's wrong. Because loyalty has a language, presence has a language, love has a language, and Eden speaks all three, trust me, fluently. So before we talk business, leadership, life and everything around it, else with his father, I think we all needed this reminder from the one and only Eden Singh. That's the purest relationships are the ones that expect nothing back. And now let me welcome the man who raised this little legend. Someone who is a board level advisor as well as key executives in many companies. Someone who has invested in more than 250 plus companies. And before that, he was a C-level executive with Tech Mahindra and HSBC. It is an honor and a thrilled pleasure to invite Mandeep M. Singh. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abhinav. Appreciate being here. I think very intuitive of you to ask me to bring my pet Eden to this show. I see him as a symbol of love, but only someone who's in this business will see him as a symbol of loyalty as well. So I think love and loyalty, they kind of go together. And I'm very happy to be here doing this podcast with you along with Eden.
Sir, when we thought of inviting you, it was actually not you. It was Eden. Because when I saw him first time, when we met at your home, the kind of love which was clearly depicting between you, Eden, and the family, it reminded me that what true loyalty looks like. And that is what we wanted to start today's conversation with. So tell me, how did you get to even see Eden? What came into your mind that, okay, I can have Eden? And how is the journey? What has happened since almost 5 years now? You said that you were with him. What has changed? How do you see about it, sir?
So I think the idea of getting a dog in the family was my younger daughters, who got him in, but then left for her masters, leaving me with the baby to take
Typical daughters.
Typical daughters with the baby to take care of. And Eden being a male dog, I think he found most resemblance in me, or I think he found that I was the dominant force in the house. So of course I'm his most favorite human on this entire planet, and I think.
And you claim it.
No, this is everybody claims it.
Yeah, okay. Everyone says
everybody knows it that I'm the most favorite human. You can take him away, showing him a treat for a minute, but he will come back.
Okay.
And that's the loyalty.
And what changed in your thoughts, sir? Once you had the dog, before you didn't have a dog, what changed?
I think in some sense, without being corny, I've raised 2 kids before. So, and then there was a lull when the kids got to the age of being teenagers. They don't need you as much. Then suddenly you find someone who needs you constantly, but is also fairly independent. So a dog is like a kid, but with a lot more capability than a kid actually has. So I think it's a good combination of someone that keeps you engaged, distracted, joyful all the time, and actually it's a stress buster. You can read about it in a book, but when you have a dog, you realize that there cannot be any stress around you if you have a pet in your life.
And what's a better thing to talk about for a for an executive who has been into banking, fintech, and stress. so, so coming back to this, sir, you have been into finance, you have been into banking, you have been into people operations. Give us a little bit gist of your journey. What was it about? What changed, and how do you see it now? For the future.
I think as I qualified as a chartered accountant, it became fairly clear to me that I wanted to taste the corporate world as opposed to setting up a practice of my own. And that journey then took me on a journey for 30 years. I also now in hindsight realize that I get bored with doing the same thing or working in the same.
I know this much better, trust me.
or staying even in the same place or staying in the same organization. I want to take it to a point where there is curiosity, where a process needs to be settled, but when it starts to run in a streamlined fashion, then I need the next level of challenge. So that's, I think, has governed my choices. I have been part of manufacturing, then banking, then telecom, then BPO, and then technology over a period of 30 years. This is diversity in industry. In terms of geography, a Chandigarh boy who then came to Delhi and then went all the way to the US and traveled extensively within Southeast Asia. I think both geography and industry is something that I was able to conquer in that 30-year period. And if that wasn't enough, I decided to become an angel investor, which of course I'm an industry agnostic angel investor.
Yes.
I get so much opportunity to learn about health tech or drone technology or space tech that I would otherwise never have if I had continued in my role as a financial services person.
No, amazing. So I've seen your portfolio. Okay, you have companies like Almonds AI, which is into last mile digital acceleration and acceptance. On the other side, you have a drone, you have a space tech, you have a fintech, and probably some more super exciting deep tech. We were talking about that company. Do you think, or don't you think this is too much in a portfolio? And I've seen that larger investors and everyone, they talk about, okay, I'm focused on this, I'm not focused on oh, this is not what I do, this is what I don't know. How do you keep up with this?
So to be honest, I mean, there are companies where I'm directly on the cap table. They require a different kind of indulgence. There are companies that which are in my portfolio through a fund, so slightly less indulgence from an administrative standpoint. But investing is just one part of it. I think where I really enjoy and thrive is where I have an advisory or a mentor role as well. That's where I look at three things. That I need to like the founder, I need to like the idea, and I should have the ability to contribute. Once these three things coincide is when I think the journey with the startup becomes a lot more fulfilling. Investment will only give you returns, but this keeps me engaged throughout day, night, even when I sleep. I'm always thinking about one or other of my portfolio companies in terms of how do I grow that company, or if the CEO has asked me for a certain question or a solution to a problem, I take that to bed, get up in the morning and have a solution in mind for that. So that's the enjoyment part of being able to do it in a very, very industry agnostic way across diverse set of startups, I think is what I thoroughly enjoy.
So this is amazing. Okay, I've been always seeing you as a people's person, and the kind of work that we are doing together, I know that you are helping us build a stronger organization from the structural point of view when we grow big, when we grow at the scale. And at HSBC, I think you have done tremendous kind of work in similar roles and all. I remember you were talking about a very powerful example where you were asked to have lot many people to let go of the company, but you turned it around. What was that about, sir? Share more.
Yeah, so in a situation, one of the teams wanted to shrink their workforce globally. So they did a very, mathematically simple way of doing it. Ask every leader to cut 10% of their workforce across locations.
बट उसके पीछे लॉजिक क्या था? मतलब बस सीधे 10% लोगों को निकाल दो.
Because they felt that they were with the advancement in technology, the need for people was reducing then, and I'm talking now in the world of AI. This is something which is hitting everybody, but I'm talking maybe 10 years ago. That mandate came. Anyone who had a technology team operating under them people had to be let go. I had about 400 people working for me in technology, and therefore that meant a number of 40 had to be let go by, let's say, 30th September. My pushback to that was that in a center which is close to 4,000 people, I have the ability to absorb those people. So why would I let them go? It should be left to the choice of the employee. If they want to stay within technology and work for another employer, that's most welcome. But if they want to stay within HSBC and are willing to work for either the mortgages process or the analytics process or the wealth management process, then I should be able to make those shifts. But for that, I needed time. So the negotiation was around time, in which I was asked that I have to do it by 30th September. I said I will need all the way up to December to accommodate these people. They said it has to be taken off of my cost center. I said I will put them onto the center head's cost center, which is my cost center. And when the the guy who was asking me from London, when his boss heard about it, the center head of Calcutta has offered to put those people on his cost center. He said, no, this is not right. They will stay within my cost center and let him do the way he wants to do. So I think that's an acknowledgement of course, loyalty towards your employees, but also that sometimes a good pushback gets rewarded back.
Sir, आजकल loyalty for employee तो खत्म हो गई है. Do you agree or not?
I don't believe that. I think.
सर मतलब लाखों लोगों को ले ऑफ किया जा रहा है. एक रात को नोटिस आता है, सीईओ मैसेज भेजता है जूम पर 200 लोगों को फायर कर देते हैं, and you're saying yes there is employee loyalty. I don't agree.
See, I think loyalty is a function of employer to employee and employee to employer. In certain situations, I have seen employers go out of their way to accommodate a good employee. Employees routinely, a lot of them go out of their way to stay connected to the employer and stay loyal to the employer. But then there are these other the whole new age philosophy in which it's a contractual relationship,
lean
contractual relationship, and therefore it's not like I'm married to the company kind of approach. That's also come in. So I wouldn't say that I would think that the employers are only the ones to blame. I think it's also the employees who are looking at the work that they do today as just a way of putting money in their pocket to be able to have a life other than work. I think the life and work are intertwined. You can't,
So it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street is what I would say.
Sir, I'll tell you, we have about 240 people on roll. I love each of them. To the extent that many of them have shared their personal challenges, happinesses, moments with me one-on-one, saying that AJ, this is how it was and now what to do, and all of them. To the extent that in some of the cases where as a founder I had to go above and beyond and do things which are not, within the policy, I had to personally help them and figure out and all of that. But at the same time, there is always back of the mind, दिमाग में चलता रहता है सर कि यार मतलब कल के रोज एक अच्छा ऑफर मिलेगा तो probably they'll think or they'll not think. सर ये तो मतलब I have a feeling, and it is maybe a feeling of, I don't know, threat, afraid, whatever it is, कि end of the day everyone is working for money except 5% of them. Do you think, is it like fair number, or is it more, is it less? What do you think?
No, I think everybody comes to work for money. 100% of them
100% of them
work for money. But does money remain your only motivation? I think that disappears for 80% of them after your basic needs are met. Because there are other reasons that allow you to continue to want to stay in a particular place, go to a particular office, work for a particular boss, work on a particular process and theme. So I think that's very clear. And I think just to help you with your thought process, in every situation, there's always one right thing to do. If you know what that one right thing is, then following that or doing that will never harm you. Even if it meant that in some situation you held back an employee who had, let's say, resigned by giving him a 10% raise, that was the right thing in that situation to do, versus in another case where the right thing was to have let him go, right? Him or her go. So I think knowing those answers of what is the right thing to do, if you continue to follow that, then you don't have to worry about the long-term implication. You will set a culture in which everybody is motivated to do the right thing.
Yes or no, both. This is the same case with channel partners as well, by the way.
Yeah.
एक channel partner है, and in your case maybe let's say insurance agents हुए या mutual fund distributors हुए. Let's talk about fintech or financial NBFCs for a minute.
Yeah.
Your company was giving 2% commission, other companies giving 3% commission. Do you think there is a loyalty, or they will sell whatever will give them more money as a commission?
So I think other than loyalty, what the insurance agent in this example that you're taking has to do is that he's treating the customer fairly. In treating the customer fairly for a like-to-like insurance with like-to-like cost, it is absolutely fine for that person to sell something that gives him more.
सर आप बहुत आइडल बात कर रहे हैं, बहुत ही आइडल है. अब मैं आपको इसमें चैलेंज बताता हूँ जो हमको दिखाई देता है. We work with lot of NBFCs. We have run multiple schemes, programs, etc. सर क्या होता है, वो जो कमीशन है, and I may be outrightly wrong, you can tell me, वो सिर्फ एक कमीशन 2% या 3% या 5% नहीं है, वो एक स्कीम का पार्ट है. सो इस मंथ में आपको 2% मिल रहा है, बट यदि आप अगले 3 महीने में लेट्स से एक्स अमाउंट कर लेते हैं तो आपको वो 2% की जगह 3% मिल जाता है. बट यहाँ पर दूसरी स्कीम है जो सीधा 3% दे रहा है. सो एक्चुअली in my opinion, I've started thinking that's where the challenge with loyalty companies is, that they're only thinking about transactions. They're not thinking about the long-term appreciation of these channel partners or agents or distributors or the customer, which is the last thing nowadays. Brands are saying I have to run a scheme because I want to get my volume done this month. They're not saying that because I want my channel partners, agent, distributors, retailers to continuously doing this for next 1 year. And that is a contradiction to what you're saying.
So, in the financial services world, Abhinav, you may or may not be aware, there have been a lot of regulations around it, around treating the customer fairly. So I think the customer needs to come first. There are people who've sold insurance to 80-year-old people, right? Which wasn't the right product to sell in the first place. But if you're motivated by, let's say, in the example of, let's say, Asian Paints as a paint company, you've introduced a new yellow, and that's the yellow you want to push. And that yellow, for putting that yellow out in the market, you have an additional incentive, and that incentive allows the painter to push that to the customer. I don't think that's as much of an issue because the wall needed to be painted anyway, right? So the distinction between the incentive and reward, pushing a product that wasn't required in the first place to making a choice between a color variation, right, is a different kind of a sentiment. And
that's an incentive.
Yes.
That's an incentive. That's not loyalty.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. What I'm also saying, sir, because the agent is same. India में 8 लाख agents होंगे, probably 10 लाख होंगे, and I'm counting everyone. वो LIC वाले agent से लेके आज का new बिल्कुल policy बाजार का agent तक. What we are seeing is that end of the day, their job is to sell a policy. I will not discount that they are selling fair or not. Maybe they are not. But they are selling policy. And for selling that policy or for selling that mutual fund, they are getting some referral commission, incentives or whatever like that. In your opinion, if there is a new thing that needs to be introduced, yes, it's a good incentive to choose a different color. But long term में, सर जब वो incentive हर नई चीज़ के लिए आता है तो इस agent को उसकी आदत लग जाती है. उसे लगता है कि अब यदि एक नई चीज़ आ रही है और उस पर मुझे इंसेंटिव नहीं मिल रहा है तो probably this is not something exciting about it. In my opinion, that's hurting the true loyalty. Because the culture being set is very different than the true culture of selling something for your job versus selling something for incentive. Do you think?
Yes, I think there are two things that we are talking about. One is loyalty exhibited by the customer, the end customer. Then the loyalty of the influencer, the one who's selling the policy. If, for example, I'm a HDFC loyalist and I will not want to buy an ICICI policy, then I will not, irrespective of what the influencer is trying to sell me, right? Or in my case, if I'm an HSBC loyalist, I may not go and buy a Standard Chartered product, right? So that is at one level. The other level that the incentives are the only ones that driving, I think, is a very, you're looking at it very myopically, I think. There is a brand that an organization creates, right? Then through that brand, you send products out in the market. The product value, the product pricing, how the product looks has to resonate with how the brand has been created, right? Incentive is merely a way of recognizing someone who will carry that brand story forward for the end customer to buy it. It's a very small piece in the overall cog. It's an important piece, though, I will admit to that.
That seems very bookish, honestly.
I am a bookish guy, Abhinav, because you run the business. My advice has to be bookish because you have to follow the book. In the end, I'll tell you the book is the one that will save the world. Okay, if you don't read the book and will only see behavior of people on the street, then we will go wrong. So the book combined with the behavior of people on the street, in the influencers, an assimilation of that, an understanding of that, and then therefore launching our products will be the most correct way of doing it.
सर मैं आपको एक रियल एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मैंने एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को एक बुक गिफ्ट की थी, तो वो मेरे से बोलता है कि बस अब बुक पढ़ना ही बाकी रह गया है क्या. सर आई एग्री, यस समटाइम्स वी नीड टू रीड बुक्स, बट कई बार ना धंधा चलाने के लिए उसके पास शायद इतना समय ही नहीं होता है कि वो बुक पढ़े या ना पढ़े. एंड आई एम नॉट सेइंग, आई लव बुक्स. मेरे घर में हर कॉर्नर में 2 बुक्स 4 बुक्स रखी हुई हैं. बट इवेंचुअली मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सर इंसेंटिव्स के कारण जो रियल कस्टमर लॉयल्टी है या जो रियल चैनल पार्टनर की लॉयल्टी है वो कहीं ना कहीं फेड होती जा रही है. बिकॉज इन एवरी स्मॉल थिंग दे आर बीइंग इंसेंटिवाइज. नया प्रोडक्ट आया, ये लो इंसेंटिव. नया वर्टिकल लॉन्च किया, ये लो इंसेंटिव. नई कंपनी आई, ये लो इंसेंटिव. और अब उसे लगता है कि यदि किसी चीज़ में इंसेंटिव आ ही नहीं रहा है तो दैट्स नॉट पार्ट ऑफ द जॉब, दैट्स नॉट समथिंग दैट ही शुड बी डूइंग. एंड आई थिंक इन द एंड कस्टमर इज लूजिंग. इट्स नॉट द चैनल पार्टनर्स, इट्स नॉट द ब्रांड. From my point of view, the true loyalty brings customer as well on the forefront of this entire ecosystem, not just the channel partner. Channel partners are a medium. But if a customer is losing, which we see right now, sir, you rightly mentioned you are a HSBC loyalist. But I am also telling you, if there is a better card at a lesser price with better functionalities, better features, better rewards, it will come in your mind that, hey, why am I not using this? Which means the loyalty may be momentarily touching you upon, but not actually extending to the lifetime. And that's my observation.
No, let me answer this another way. I think for the last 30 years, I have been a Airtel loyalist. Okay. And despite Reliance coming in, Jio coming in, Vodafone being there, Idea being there or not, I never even had a thought in my head to ever shift despite their pricing. Okay. Also, my loyalty with Airtel is dependent on the fact that Airtel doesn't bother me at all as a customer. The way my system is set, the monthly invoice comes, gets paid on its own, as long as my 4 cell phones, which are on the same plan, continue to operate. And when I go out and travel out of the country, the roaming automatically kicks in. I have put it on a default 10-day package every time I travel. I don't think about Airtel. It's a service that I need, and that has allowed me to be loyal with them for 30 years. No amount of incentives to any channel partner are going to take me away from that. Right? So that's one way of looking at loyalty. Because you're right, the channel may do whatever they want to do, but how does loyalty hit the customer, and how is the customer perceiving that loyalty is, I think, a very important part of the conversation.
So, sir, you have seen service delivery and customer experience at scale. What do you think, in your opinion, companies forget about the last mile person there, the person who's actually representing the brand? What do you think is the forgotten truth about them?
So I think sometimes the companies get massively driven just by numbers. They believe if the numbers are being met, then everything must be done, must be happening correctly. I think the value assessment of what got done sometimes gets missed out. I'm aware of a situation in my office where we used to measure customer experience as a number on a everyday basis. If we had
Wow.
10,000 calls yesterday, what was the customer experience jointly across multiple centers for those 10,000 calls? Basis the survey which would go out for 2% of those calls. That was supposed to be a number which would go all the way up to the CEO. But because the measurement became so much of a focus, people started to game the system. Game the system.
Wow.
Where for a call where the call had not gone right, they figured out a way that the survey won't be sent. Right? So some of these things, I think unless you've brought the right values into your last mile in terms of the one who's going to touch the customer, in the case of an insurance agent, for example, who not to sell an insurance to, in the case of a shopkeeper, not to sell tobacco to someone less than 18 years old, unless that value system is brought in, I think there will always be trouble. And that's, I think, the thing that brand owners sometimes forget.
You're saying the value system for the last mile.
Correct.
Again, coming back to this, if you give an incentivization, value system side mein rehta hai, sir.
That's not entirely true. If the value system has been ingrained completely, then the kind of incentives we are talking about won't have any impact. There are some people who can't be bought for crores.
Agree.
Right? So that will come into play. Right? So I think teaching the value to the last line is, I think, very important. In India, I think we have a problem like that, right? So I've lived in multiple houses, and we always crib that why is the last mile finish in the house not as good as what we see elsewhere in the world?
Absolutely.
Because the last guy, you can make the best ceramic tile, but the last guy who's going to put the cement and put the tile on the floor, if that guy is not trained well enough, if he doesn't have that value system that this is going to stay here forever in this shape or form, it'll always be a little bit skewed. Look at the electrical points. Half the electrical points in India are never, exactly at the right angle, because the last guy doesn't think it's important.
Sir, you know what? Exactly to this point, मैं अभी घर बना रहा था तो lights लगाने के लिए बोला तो मेरे इंटीरियर ने बोला सर डोंट बाय स्क्वायर वाली लाइट्स क्योंकि वो कभी भी आपके दीवार के पैरेलल लगेंगी ही नहीं आपके घर में. इट्स बेटर यू बाय सर्कुलर लाइट्स सो दैट नो मैटर वेयर यू पुट इट विल बी लाइक अलाइंड, राइट. बट इससे सर एक और इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ मैं आपको बताता हूँ. वी वर्क विद लॉट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल कंपनीज फॉर देयर लॉयल्टी प्रोग्राम्स एंड ऑल्सो लॉट ऑफ home/building material companies. What they're also doing, sir, they're not just giving incentives and loyalty points and all of that. So they are also now trying to uplift the knowledge and train the last mile applicators, electricians. We call them nano influencers at the last mile. And this is changing. So if you look at it, and I cannot call some names here, but some of the brightest and largest companies in the country are giving these care programs for their last mile influencers, where they are working with brands like us and plus government agencies like National Skill Development Corporations, etc., and with colleges and institutes to create training programs for these last mile influencers, so that it is not just about incentivized loyalty, but also something for their future, for their betterment of their earnings. And all of this is happening. So you'll not be surprised. Probably in next couple of years you'll see, and you'll probably will have the same conversation. You'll say, Abhinav, इस बार जो लास्ट में लाइट लगी है ना वो बहुत सही लगी है.
No, Abhinav, I agree. So that's where Almonds.ai as an app comes in, right? So you have 100 brands right now on your app. How many brands exist in India? 2,000,
Yes.
right? So there is a lot of journey that still needs to be done. That's where a digital app, which is in the hands of the influencer or the person connected to the last mile, who will connect with the end customer, that guy is being constantly trained. That guy is, I'm hoping some of those companies will use it to train even on a value system and not just on choosing,
so they are already doing
choosing the right color.
They're already doing
right? Or training on sustainability for that matter.
Absolutely.
Right? So those kind of things can happen through this app. then incentives will become a very small portion of the reason why you will get attached to a brand.
Correct.
Or why you will be loyal to a brand, because incentives will automatically go hit your bank account, and at some point in time you'll forget about it. But what you'll remember is what the brand made you feel, how much of a partner the brand considered you in that entire chain of trying to reach the end.
Absolutely, sir. So there is a program name called Green Loyalty Program, and you'll be surprised how powerful this small thing is. So Green Loyalty Program में क्या करते हैं sir? We work with brands, जो channel के लिए loyalty run कर रहे हैं, even customers के लिए loyalty run करते हैं, and with a very small thing. And we did a lot of brainstorming. We worked with Singapore University and consultants across the globe to create a charter. What does green loyalty mean? And one simple thing changes the entire ecosystem is what kind of rewards are you giving? And what we did for a large food and bev brand, they changed about 50% of their rewards to eco-friendly rewards, sustainable products and all of that. So would you be surprised if you'll see this year about 85% of their redemptions for last mile, which includes retailers, dealers, distributors, were eco-friendly products. Solar panels, solar powered batteries, EVs, chargers which are powered by solar and all. The only thing that the brand did that, hey, I'll give you 10% extra bonus points if you take a sustainable product as a reward. That small shift changes, and it's changing across the categories. It's not just that. Second, sir, we talked about care program, which is where brands are saying, hey, you are a loyal channel partner to me, and in their own way, loyal means you're buying more. Okay, that's the definition, unfortunately. But if you're a loyal channel partner to me, you're constantly praising my product, you're buying more, I give you beyond the transactions. Transactions में क्या मिलता है? 2% का आपको reward मिल गया, 1% का reward मिल गया. But beyond the transactions is, hey, I will also insure your health. I'll give you health insurance. Hey, I can also help you with an online coaching from IIMs or IITs for you to learn something, how to do something better than what you're doing. And last but not the least, there's a program, we run it for a brand, and the program name is called Grah Lakshmi Program. सर आजकल क्या हो गया ना, फैमिलीज में जो घर में हाउस वाइफ्स हैं उन सबको DIY का बड़ा शौक है. हाउ कैन आई मेक समथिंग फ्रॉम द वेस्ट एट होम एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो वी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अबाउट 20-30 classes for these women to learn from certified trainers and all of that. This is already happening, and that's the real power of loyalty. So I think the conversation we started from incentives, is this bribe? Is this the right way to introduce a product? Is this the right thing to get this done, get things done by the channel partners? And now as we are talking that, okay, now the things are moving differently. Brands are also creating values. They are also, as you rightly mentioned, creating value systems for their last mile.
I'll also add something here, Abhinav, and this is kudos again to a company like Almonds.ai, which has got a product that reaches the last mile. So you could, as a company, have a model that you force the sale on 31st March out to the distributor. You book the sales in your books. The distributor is doing the same thing, forcing the sale out to the retailers, and they've done their job. What Almonds.ai does is it actually helps the retailer sell it to the end customer. Right? So it's not just about there's a mandate to sell so many boxes by a certain date, but also providing help as to how are you going to do it. In the how of doing it, incentive I still think is a small portion.
Yes.
That there are two brands of television, right? One says, okay, to the distributor by 31st March, pick up 10,000 pieces of mine. That's my sales target. Target met. Job done. Okay. The other one says, pick up 10,000 pieces. However, I am going to incentivize your retailers to be able to sell it to the customer. Also give them discounts. They get incentive, the customer get discount. You're helping them sell that stock, right? The second is the one which will have loyalty, not because you gave incentives, but because you thought about the distributor and the retailer chain in helping them sell your product to the end customer. I think that's the differentiator. That's what will make them want to do more business with you. So create an environment where the retailers, the wholesalers, the distributors want to do more business with you as a brand, I think is what Almonds AI helps with the brands who choose it as part of their offering set for last mile.
So, sir, we talked about love, loyalty, appreciation. I think who could be a better poster to this with our beloved Eden? So, everyone, that's Mandeep, sir, and our beloved Eden Singh. You know, I couldn't have asked for more than this today because what we discussed was not just loyalty, but a true example of it. And I wholeheartedly thanks to both of these two gentlemen for being here. Mandeep sir, it was so exciting learning from you, and it was super excited hearing from him as well, in the barking mode somewhere. But that's what this entire Channel Champions is about. So signing off, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll meet soon with the next episode with someone more exciting, more learningful. Until then, ciao.